As sole heir, you have inherited property located at 1847 Old Highway 12, known as the Starlight Drive-In Theater. Eli stared at the words. Richard Harmon, his mother's brother. Met him twice, maybe. Why would he leave me anything? Another paper fell out, handwritten, yellowed. Eli, don't let the stars at Starlight fade. You'll find what I never said there. Don't trust anyone who wants to buy it. Keep the dog close. He'll know what to find. Uncle Richard? Eli read it twice, 3 times. Keep the dog close. He'll know what to find. He looked at Coda. You ever met Uncle Richard? The dog's tail thumped. That's what I thought. The Starlight Drive-In sat 15 miles out. End of a road nobody used. Eli drove slow, Coda in the passenger seat, both watching. When they arrived, Eli cut the engine, just sat there. This is what he left me. Cracked movie screen, rusted speaker poles, concession stand with a door hanging sideways, 20 years of trash and decay. Your uncle hid them to protect the people he helped. Where? Don't know. Richard never told me, said it was safer. Lincoln looked at Coda. But he said when the time came, the right person would find it. Someone with courage to finish what he started. Eli stood. Then I better keep digging. Lincoln walked him to the door. Be careful, son. Maddox plays for keeps. He's got resources. He doesn't have what I have. What's that? Nothing left to lose. Eli drove back to the Starlight. Sun setting. Coda alert in the passenger seat. When they pulled in, Eli saw it immediately. Maddox's truck, parked by the concession stand. Eli grabbed the tire iron under his seat. Stay close, boy. They got out together, approached carefully. Maddox stood by the screen, waiting. 2 men with him, big guys, professional. Mr. Bellamy, we need to talk. I thought we were done. So did I, but you keep making this difficult. Maddox stepped forward. Final offer. $200,000. You sign tonight. Walk away. We forget this unpleasantness. And if I refuse, then tomorrow, county inspector finds code violations, health hazards, environmental concerns. This place gets condemned. You lose it for nothing. You can't do that. Can't I? Maddox smiled. I own the inspector, half the town council. Enough people that your inheritance becomes a nightmare of legal fees and hell. He pulled out papers. Or you sign, take the money, disappear. Eli looked at the papers, at Maddox, at the thugs waiting for an excuse, then at Coda. The dog stared back, steady, loyal, unafraid. No. What? I said no. This place stays mine. You can take your money, your threats, your bought inspectors and get off my property. Maddox's smile disappeared. You're making a mistake. Maybe, but it's my mistake. Last chance, Bellamy. I'm done with chances. Leave. Maddox gestured. His men started forward. Coda's growl cut the air like a blade. The men stopped, looked at the dog, at Eli. Your dog bites, he gets put down, Maddox said. Your men attack, they find out what a combat-trained shepherd can do. Eli's voice went cold. He's killed before. In Kandahar. Saved 3 Marines, including me. You really want to test him? The first thug looked at his partner, hesitated. Your call, Eli said. But if they touch me, I don't call him off. The standoff lasted 10 seconds. Felt like 10 years. Finally, Maddox turned. You'll regret this. I've regretted a lot of things. This won't be one of them. They got in the truck, drove away. Eli stood alone in the abandoned drive-in with his dog and his uncle's legacy and the certainty that tomorrow would be worse. We're in it now, boy. No turning back. Coda's tail wagged. Above them, the first stars appeared over the starlight's broken screen, and Eli understood why his uncle had written those words. Don't let the stars fade. Because this place wasn't about movies or memories. It was about hope, about light in darkness, about refusing to let evil win just because fighting it was hard. And Eli Bellamy, broken Marine, failed farmer, forgotten veteran, had just found something worth fighting for again. Eli didn't sleep that night. He sat at his kitchen table, with the ledger open, Uncle Richard's journal beside it, trying to decode entries that suddenly felt urgent instead of mysterious. Coda lay at his feet, head on his paws, but his eyes stayed open, watching. 200 entries marked with dots, 50 with lines. What's the difference? Eli traced his finger down the margins. The dots appeared next to larger numbers, 200 units, 300. The lines appeared next to smaller ones, 20-30. Dots are transports. Lines are what supply runs communications. His phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Last warning. Sell or suffer. GM. Eli stared at the message. Grant Maddox wasn't even pretending anymore. He typed back, "Come try to make me." 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. No response came. That was stupid. Coda lifted his head. I know, but I'm tired of being pushed. Eli closed the ledger. And I'm tired of not understanding what we're protecting. He grabbed his jacket. Come on, we're going back. Now it's 2 a.m. Best time. Nobody watching. They drove to the Starlight in darkness. No headlights until they were on the property. Eli parked behind the concession stand where the truck couldn't be seen from the road. If Maddox has people watching, I don't want them knowing we're here. Coda jumped out. Immediately went on alert. Eli grabbed a flashlight and the journal. Uncle Richard wrote about hiding evidence. Records that could destroy Maddox. Has to be here somewhere. He started in the concession stand. Checked every wall panel, every floorboard. Found nothing but rot and mouse droppings. The projection booth was next. Eli climbed the stairs again this time, tapping walls, listening for hollow sounds. Nothing. Where would you hide something you never wanted found? Coda barked from outside. Sharp, urgent. Eli ran down the stairs. What is it? The dog stood by the massive screen, pawing at the base. The screen. There's nothing there, it's just, Coda barked again, insistent. Eli walked over, got down on his knees, shined his flashlight at the base of the screen's support structure. There barely visible a seam in the concrete foundation. Not a crack. A cut. Deliberate. No way. He pulled out his crowbar, wedged it into the seam, levered. The concrete section shifted. It wasn't solid foundation, it was a cover. Underneath a metal box. Waterproof. Military surplus. Sealed with a combination lock. Jesus Christ. Uncle Richard, you genius? Eli tried to lift the box. Too heavy. At least 50 pounds. Help me, boy. Together they dragged it out. Eli hauled it to his truck, loaded it in the bed. Then he heard it. Engines. Multiple vehicles. Coming fast. Get in now. Coda jumped in the cab. Eli started the engine. Killed the lights. Waited. 3 trucks appeared on the access road. Black SUVs. Moving in formation. Maddox's people. They know we're here. How do they know? Eli looked at his phone. The text he'd sent. Come try to make me. Damn it, they tracked my phone. The SUVs spread out, surrounding the property, cutting off the main exit. We need another way out. Eli threw the truck in reverse, shot backward through overgrown brush. There was an old service road back here, barely a path now, but it led to the highway a mile north. Behind him, the SUVs realized what he was doing. Engines roared, headlights swept through darkness. Hold on. Eli's truck crashed through brush. Branches scraped metal. Something in the undercarriage hit a rock and the whole vehicle shuddered. But they kept moving. The service road opened up. Eli shifted into drive, floored it. In his rear view, the SUV's in pursuit, gaining. Come on, come on. His truck wasn't built for speed. The SUVs were. Within 30 seconds, they'd caught up. One pulled alongside. The passenger window rolled down. A man leaned out, gun in hand. Eli down. He cranked the wheel hard right. His truck slammed into the SUV. Metal shrieked. The SUV swerved off the road, hit a tree, stopped. Two more behind him. Eli saw the highway ahead. If he could reach it, hit traffic, they might back off. 20 yards. 10. He shot out onto the highway. A semi blared its horn, swerved, missed him by inches. Eli merged into traffic. The SUVs followed, but hung back now. Too many witnesses. We're not safe. They'll follow us home. He couldn't go home. Couldn't lead them there. Instead, he drove. No destination, just drove. Through town, past town, into farmland. Checking his mirror every 10 seconds. The SUVs stayed back. Far enough to not be obvious. Close enough to track. An hour later, Eli pulled into a truck stop. Parked among dozens of other vehicles. Killed the engine. We wait here. Figure out what's in that box. He climbed in the truck bed. Coda watched from the cab. The combination lock was old. Military issue. 3 numbers. Eli tried random combinations. Nothing. Tried significant dates. Uncle Richard's birthday, his mother's? Nothing. Then he remembered the note. Keep the dog close. He looked at Coda. You're the key. You've found everything else. The dog's birthday. No, Eli didn't even know it. Wait. He pulled out the journal. Flipped to the first entry. January 3rd, 1996. He tried 1-3-96. The lock clicked open. You beautiful bastard. Inside the box files, dozens of them. Photographs, financial records. Ledgers that weren't coded, these were explicit. Eli started reading. The first file made his stomach turn. Bank statements, showing deposits from shell companies, payments to local police, to county officials, to judges, all leading back to one source, Maddox Enterprises. The second file was worse. Photos, women with bruises, children crying, documents showing restraining orders that were never enforced, police reports that disappeared, and notes in Uncle Richard's handwriting. Reported to Sheriff Davis, no action taken. Reported to county attorney, case dismissed. Reported to state police, redirected to local jurisdiction. He tried to go through official channels. They shut him down at every level. The third file contained names. Lists of families Richard had helped, where they'd gone. New identities in some cases, safe houses in others. 47 families over 19 years. And at the bottom of the box, a video cassette, labeled simply evidence. Eli didn't have a VCR. Nobody did anymore. But he knew someone who might. He pulled out his phone, called Lincoln. It's 3 in the morning. I know, I'm sorry, but I found it. The evidence Uncle Richard hid, and I need help. Where are you? Truck stop on Highway 12. I've got Maddox's people following me. Can't go home. Come to my place. I'll watch for tail. If they follow you here, we deal with it. I don't want to bring trouble to your door. Son, trouble's already at my door. Has been for years. Now get moving. Eli drove to Lincoln's house. Checked his mirror the whole way. Saw nothing. But that didn't mean they weren't there. Lincoln stood on his porch, shotgun visible. Anyone follow you? Don't think so. Good. Bring the box inside, quickly. They hauled it in. Set it on Lincoln's dining table. The old man looked at the files, the photos, the evidence of 19 years of systematic corruption. Sweet Jesus, Richard actually kept all of it. You knew he had this? Suspected. Never knew for sure. He was paranoid about it, rightly so. Lincoln pulled out the video cassette. What's on this? Don't know. Don't have a VCR. I do. Old one. In the garage. Give me a minute. While Lincoln set up the equipment, Eli kept reading files. Each one worse than the last. Coda stayed by the door, on guard. Got it working, Lincoln called. Eli joined him in the living room. Lincoln had connected an ancient VCR to an equally ancient TV. He pushed the cassette in. Hit play. Static. Then Uncle Richard's face. Younger, maybe late 50s, sitting in the projection booth. My name is Richard Harmon. Today is November 15th, 2003. If you're watching this, I'm probably dead, and you need to know what Grant Maddox really is. Eli sat down slowly. Richard continued. Maddox runs a trafficking network, not drugs, people, specifically women and children from abusive situations. He poses as a social services contractor, gets access to vulnerable families through county programs. Then he disappears them, sells them to buyers across the country. Lincoln's hands clenched into fists. I've been documenting his operation for 6 years. Every transport, every payoff, every official he's bought. It's all in the files. But Maddox knows I know. He's threatened me multiple times, destroyed property, sent men to intimidate me. 2 weeks ago, he tried to burn down the concession stand. On screen, Richard pulled out a photograph, showed it to the camera, a young woman, bruised face, terrified eyes. This is Sarah Mitchell. She came to me in 1997. Her husband was beating her. She had 2 kids. Went to the police, they did nothing. Went to county services, Maddox's people took her information, told her they'd help. 3 days later, men tried to grab her kids from school. Eli's stomach turned. I got her out, got her to Idaho, set her up with new identity, but Maddox found out. He's been watching me ever since, waiting for a chance to shut me down permanently. Richard leaned closer to the camera. His eyes were intense, desperate. If you're watching this, if you found this evidence, you have to finish what I started. Take these files to the FBI, not local police, not state, federal. Show them everything. Make them investigate, because if Maddox isn't stopped, he'll keep doing this. Keep destroying families. Keep buying officials. Keep... The video cut out. Static. Then it came back. Different date. Different lighting. Richard looked older. Exhausted. Addendum. December 20th, 2003. I'm closing the sanctuary. Too dangerous. Maddox knows too much. Last week someone shot at me. Missed by 6 inches. This morning I found my dog poisoned. He's going to escalate until someone dies. Richard's voice cracked. I can't save everyone. But I saved who I could. 47 families. 173 people. That has to be enough. I'm hiding the evidence. Someday, maybe years from now, someone will find it. Someone will care enough to act. To expose Maddox, to free this town from his grip. He looked directly at the camera, at Eli, across time and death. Whoever you are, don't let the stars fade. Don't let this place become just another forgotten ruin, because it's more than that. It's proof that good people still fight, still resist, still refuse to let evil win. The video ended. Eli sat in silence, Lincoln beside him. Finally, the old man spoke. Your uncle was the bravest man I ever knew. He's asking me to finish this, to take down Maddox. He's asking someone to, doesn't have to be you. Eli looked at Coda. The dog stared back with those amber eyes that always seem to know more than they should. Yeah, it does. Then we need a plan. Because going after Maddox with just evidence isn't enough. He'll bury it, like he's buried everything else. What do we need? Proof he's still active, still trafficking. Evidence so fresh he can't claim it's old news or fabricated. Lincoln stood up, started pacing. We need to catch him in the act. How? Same way your uncle did. We bait him. Make him think someone new needs help, someone vulnerable. Then we document when his people move in. That's dangerous. We'd be putting someone at risk. Not if we control the situation, not if we're ready. Lincoln pulled out his phone. I know someone. Agent Torres, FBI. She's been investigating trafficking in Montana for 3 years. Hasn't been able to crack Maddox because he's too careful, too connected. But with Richard's evidence and fresh proof, she could build a case. You trust her. With my life. More importantly, your uncle trusted her. He was in contact with her before he died. She just didn't have enough to move on. Eli made a decision. Call her. Lincoln dialed. Put it on speaker. Torres. It's Lincoln. I have something. Richard Harmon's nephew found the evidence. Silence on the line. Then, all of it. Everything. Files, photos, financial records, and video testimony from Richard himself. Where are you? My house. But we've got a problem. Maddox knows the nephew has something. His people are actively hunting him. I can have protection there in 2 hours. We don't have 2 hours. We need it now. I'm in Billings, 3 hours away minimum. Eli spoke up. Agent Torres, Eli Bellamy. If we wait 3 hours, Maddox will make a move. He's already tried to run me off the road tonight. He's desperate. Then you need to get somewhere secure. Somewhere public with witnesses. Stay there until I arrive. And then what? Then we build a case, fast, and we take Maddox down before he runs. He won't run. He owns this town. He thinks he's untouchable. Then we prove him wrong. Torres paused. Mr. Bellamy, your uncle spent 20 years fighting this man. Don't throw that away by getting yourself killed before we can act. Stay alive. Stay hidden. I'm on my way. She hung up. Lincoln looked at Eli. She's right. We need to disappear for a few hours. Where? I know a place. Old hunting cabin, 20 miles into the mountains. Nobody knows about it except me. We go there, we wait, we plan. What about my truck? They've probably put a tracker on it by now. We take my truck, leave yours in my garage. They won't know where you've gone. They transferred the metal box to Lincoln's pickup. Coda jumped in the back seat. Lincoln grabbed supplies, food, water, ammunition. You expecting a war? With Maddox, always expect war. They drove into the mountains, took old logging roads that barely existed anymore. Lincoln knew every turn by memory. An hour later, they reached the cabin. Isolated, surrounded by forest. No power lines, no phone service. Perfect. Inside was basic but solid. Wood stove, sleeping bags, canned food from years ago. Lincoln started a fire. We're safe here, at least until Torres arrives. Eli set the metal box on a table, started organizing files. We need to go through all of this, figure out what's most damaging, what'll make the strongest case. They worked through dawn, reading, taking notes, building a timeline of Maddox's operation. Coda slept by the door. But even in sleep, his ears swiveled at every sound. By sunrise, they had it. A clear picture of 19 years of corruption, trafficking, and systematic evil. This will destroy him, Lincoln said. His business, his reputation, his freedom, everything. Good. But Eli, men like Maddox don't go down quietly. When he realizes what we have, he'll come for us with everything he's got. I know. You sure you want this fight? Eli thought about Martinez, about Afghanistan, about coming home to nothing, about finding a purpose again in the most unlikely place. Yeah, I'm sure. His phone buzzed. Signal had returned. Text from Torres. 1 hour out. Meet me at the county courthouse. Public location. Bring everything. We move fast. They loaded up, started driving back. Halfway down the mountain, Lincoln's truck died. Just stopped. Engine cut out. No warning. What the hell? Lincoln tried to restart it. Nothing. Not even a click. Someone sabotaged it. Eli got out, popped the hood. Several wires had been cut. Deliberately. Recently. They found us. They were here. Coda started barking, pointing at the tree line. Movement. Multiple figures, surrounding them. 6 men emerged from the forest, armed, professional, and leading them Grant Maddox. Mr. Bellamy, Sheriff Lincoln, going somewhere. Eli's hand moved to his waistband. Empty. He'd left his pistol in the cabin. Stupid, careless, fatal. How did you find us? Maddox smiled. Your dog has a chip. For identification. Easy enough to track if you know what you're looking for. He stepped closer. Now, you're going to give me that box. And you're going to forget everything you think you know. And if we don't, then we have an unfortunate accident. 2 men, lost in the mountains. Vehicle breaks down. Exposure. Animals. These things happen. Lincoln spoke up. FBI's on the way. Agent Torres. She knows everything. Does she? Or does she know what I told her to know? Maddox pulled out a phone, showed them a text. From Torres. Stand down. False alarm. Bellamy is not credible witness. Investigation closed. That's fake. Is it? How would you know? Maddox gestured to his men. Take the box. Disable their phones. We're done here. 2 men moved forward. Coda launched himself at the first one. 80 pounds of muscle and fury. The man went down screaming. The dog's jaws found his arm. Held on. Coda, off! Eli charged the second man. They collided. Went down hard. Eli's training kicked in, knee to the gut, elbow to the face, grabbed the weapon. He came up with the man's rifle. Swung it toward Maddox. Call them off. Now. Maddox didn't flinch. Shoot me and my men kill you. And your dog. And Lincoln. Might be worth it. No, it wouldn't. Because you want justice, not revenge. And dead men don't get justice. Eli's finger tightened on the trigger. Then he heard it. Sirens, distant but approaching. Maddox heard it too. His expression changed. What did you do? Contacted Torres yesterday, before I found the box. She's been tracking my phone since then. Every move, every location. Eli smiled. Including this one. The sirens got louder. Closer. Maddox's men started backing toward the tree line. We're not done, Maddox said. Yeah, we are. FBI vehicles burst through the forest. 6 of them. Doors opened. Agents poured out. FBI, drop your weapons on the ground, now. Maddox's men complied. Had no choice. Agent Torres. 40 sharp-eyed, all business walked straight to Maddox. Grant Maddox, you're under arrest for human trafficking, conspiracy, corruption of public officials, and about 20 other charges I'll explain on the way to jail. You have no proof. Actually, we have 19 years of proof. Video testimony from Richard Harmon. Financial records. Witness statements. And you just threatened 2 federal witnesses while we recorded it. She held up a phone. Your mistake was thinking small-town corruption could stand up to federal investigation. They cuffed Maddox, led him away. His men followed. Eli lowered the rifle. His hands were shaking now, adrenaline crash. Lincoln put a hand on his shoulder. You did it, son. Uncle Richard did it. I just finished it. Torres approached. Mr. Bellamy, that was reckless, stupid, and incredibly brave. Your uncle would have been proud. What happens now? Now we build the case. You testify. Maddox goes to prison, and we clean out every corrupt official he's bought. She looked at the metal box. This evidence, it's going to change everything. What about the Starlight? It's yours, free and clear. Maddox's claim on it was fraudulent from the start. You want to rebuild it, restore it, turn it into a parking lot, that's your choice. Eli looked at Coda. The dog sat beside him, tongue out, tail wagging, like they'd just finished a fun game instead of nearly dying. I know exactly what I'm doing with it. 3 days later, Eli stood in the center of the Starlight Drive-In. Word had spread about Maddox's arrest, about the sanctuary, about what Richard Harmon had really been doing. And people came, not to gawk, to help. A construction crew showed up with equipment. "No charge. Your uncle helped my sister in '99. We owe him." A painter arrived with supplies. "He saved my daughter. Least I can do is help restore his legacy." Volunteers kept coming, bringing tools, materials, skills, time. Within a week, the concession stand had a new door. The projection booth had been cleared. The speaker poles were being replaced. The screen, that massive cracked monument, they decided to keep it as it was. "Battle scars," someone said. "Proof it survived." Eli worked alongside them, hammering, painting, rebuilding. Coda stayed close, always. One afternoon, Lincoln showed up with news. States charging 17 officials with corruption. County attorney, 3 judges, half the sheriff's department. Maddox's whole network is collapsing. Good. There's more. FBI found active victims. 3 women and 5 children. Maddox was in the process of moving. They're safe now, getting help. Eli stopped hammering. "Because of what we found. Because of what your uncle preserved, and what you had the courage to expose." That night alone in the projection booth with Coda, Eli pulled out Uncle Richard's note one last time. "Don't let the stars at Starlight fade." He walked outside, looked up. The Montana sky was clear. Stars everywhere. "I won't, Uncle Richard. I promise." Coda's tail thumped against his leg. And for the first time since Afghanistan, Eli felt something he thought he'd lost forever. Purpose. Connection. Home. The Starlight wasn't just a drive-in theater anymore. It was proof that one person could make a difference. That courage could outlast evil. That light could survive in the darkest places. And it was his now. His to protect. His to rebuild. His to transform into something even better than it had been. He just didn't know yet how much better it could become. Or how many lives it would still save. The first threat came exactly 1 week after Maddox's arrest. Eli found it spray-painted across the newly repaired concession stand door. "Snitches die." He stood there with a paintbrush in his hand, staring at the words. Coda growled beside him. "They're not done with us." Lincoln pulled up in his truck, saw the graffiti. His jaw tightened. "Maddox's people. He's got lawyers working overtime. Posted bail yesterday." Eli's stomach dropped. "He's out. $2 million in cash. Judge couldn't deny it. No prior convictions, community ties, blah, blah, blah." Lincoln climbed out. "But he's got an ankle monitor. Can't leave the county. FBI's watching him." Not close enough, apparently. This wasn't him directly. He's smart. He'll use people we can't trace back to him. Lincoln looked at the paint. "What do you want to do?" "Same thing we did last time. Clean it up. Keep building." "Eli, I'm not running. I'm not selling. I'm not quitting." Eli grabbed paint remover from his truck. "He wants me scared. He picked the wrong veteran." They spent the morning scrubbing. By noon, the door was clean again. But the message was clear. Maddox wasn't giving up. Neither were his people. That afternoon, a woman showed up at the Starlight, mid-30s, exhausted. 2 kids girl, about 8 boy, maybe 5. Both looked terrified. She approached Eli carefully. "Are you Richard Harmon's nephew?" "Yeah, Eli Bellamy." "My name is Amy. Amy Cordova." Her voice shook. "I heard about what your uncle did here, about the sanctuary. I don't know where else to go." Eli set down his tools. "What's wrong?" "My husband. He's been hurting me for years. I finally left him last week. Took the kids, got a restraining order. But he found us at my sister's place. Broke in. Police came, but..." She stopped, looked at her kids, lowered her voice. "The cop who responded knows my husband. They went to high school together. He told me the restraining order was just paper, that I should go home and work it out." Eli's blood went cold. Which cop? Deputy Miller. He said if I pushed charges, things would get complicated, that people would start asking questions about my past, about whether I'm a fit mother. Tears started. I don't have a past. I've never been in trouble, but he made it sound like they could take my kids if I didn't shut up. Lincoln had walked over, heard the last part. Miller's one of Maddox's people. We got him on the corruption list, but he hasn't been charged yet. Still working. Jesus. Amy looked between them. I heard what happened. About the arrests. About the FBI. I thought maybe things would change, but they haven't. Miller called my husband after I filed the report. Told him where we were staying. We barely got out before he showed up. Eli looked at her kids. The boy was holding his sister's hand so tight his knuckles were white. Where are you staying now? My car. For 2 days. I'm out of money, out of options. I thought... She looked at the drive-in, at the half-restored buildings. I thought maybe your uncle's sanctuary was still running, that someone could help us. It's not running. It's construction right now. Please, I don't know where else to go. Eli looked at Lincoln. The old man's expression was conflicted. We can't. The FBI said... I know what they said. Eli turned back to Amy. How far behind is your husband? I don't know. Maybe an hour. Maybe less. I've been driving all night trying to lose him. All right. Lincoln, take her to your hunting cabin. The one we used. She'll be safe there. Eli, we can't interfere with an active investigation. We're not interfering. We're protecting a woman and her kids until we can get them proper help. That's not illegal. It is if we're hiding her from law enforcement. Deputy Miller isn't law enforcement. He's an accessory to abuse. Eli pulled out his phone. I'm calling Torres. Right now. We do this by the book. He dialed. Torres answered on the second ring. Bellamy, what's wrong? I've got a situation. Woman named Amy Cordova just showed up at the Starlight. Says her husband's been beating her. Says Deputy Miller, one of Maddox's guys, is helping the husband find her. Where is she now? With me. But she's scared. Says the husband's maybe an hour behind. Torres was quiet for 3 seconds. Put her somewhere safe. Not the Starlight too public. Not her car too exposed. You know somewhere? Yeah. Go there. I'm sending agents. They'll be there in 90 minutes. Do not engage the husband if he shows up. Call 911. Call me, but do not engage. Understood? Understood. And Eli, this is what your uncle did. Quietly, carefully, until people were safe. Don't try to be a hero. Just keep her alive until we get there. She hung up. Lincoln was already loading Amy and her kids into his truck. Cabin. FBI's coming. They caravanned out. Eli led in his truck, Coda beside him. Lincoln followed with Amy. 20 minutes into the drive, Eli's rearview mirror showed a third vehicle. Keeping pace. Staying back, but not hiding. We've got a tail. He grabbed his radio. They'd set up a two-way system after the mountain incident. Lincoln, you see the gray sedan behind us. I see it. Could be the husband. Or could be Maddox's people keeping tabs. Either way, we don't lead them to the cabin. Eli made a decision. I'm breaking off. You keep going. I'll draw them away. Eli, just get Amy and those kids safe. I'll lose whoever this is and meet you there. Be careful. Eli took the next turn hard. His truck fishtailed on gravel but held. The gray sedan followed, definitely tailing him. Eli accelerated. The sedan kept pace. He took another turn, then another, weaving through back roads he'd learned over the past weeks. The sedan stayed with him, professional driving. Not some angry husband, this was someone trained. Eli's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Yeah. Mr. Bellamy, you're making this harder than it needs to be. Not Maddox's voice. Someone younger. Colder. Who is this? Someone who wants that woman returned to her husband. Quietly. without FBI involvement, without drama. Not happening. Then you're interfering in a domestic situation. That's illegal. We could have you arrested. Try it. Or we could just take her, and the kids, and you'd never see them again. Eli's hands tightened on the wheel. You threatening to kidnap a woman and children? Threatening, no. Stating fact. Maddox is out on bail. His network is still operational. Just because the FBI arrested some low-level people doesn't mean we've stopped working. You're admitting to trafficking. I'm admitting nothing. This call doesn't exist. This conversation never happened. But Amy Cordova needs to go home to her husband. And you need to stop playing hero. Who's the husband? Silence. Then someone important. Someone with connections. Someone you don't want as an enemy. Too late. I've already got Maddox. One more enemy doesn't scare me. It should, because Maddox is in jail. He's contained. But Amy's husband, he's free. He's angry. And he's coming for what's his. The line went dead. Eli looked at Coda. This is bigger than we thought. He pulled onto the highway. The sedan followed for another mile. Then it turned off. Disappeared. They weren't chasing anymore. They were tracking. Waiting. Eli drove for 30 minutes before doubling back on logging roads, making sure he'd lost any tail. When he finally reached the cabin, Lincoln stood outside with a rifle. About time. Thought you'd gotten yourself killed. Almost. We've got a problem. Eli explained the phone call. Lincoln's expression darkened. Amy's husband isn't just some abuser. He's connected to Maddox's network. Has to be. Otherwise, why would they care this much? Inside the cabin, Amy was feeding her kids canned soup. They ate like they hadn't seen food in days. Amy, I need to ask you something. Your husband, what's his name? Marcus. Marcus Cordova. What does he do? He's in real estate, commercial properties, development. Eli and Lincoln exchanged looks. Does he know Grant Maddox? Amy's face went pale. They're business partners. Marcus handles property acquisitions for Maddox's company. Why? Because Maddox's network is bigger than we thought, and your husband is part of it. No, Marcus he's violent. He's cruel, but he's not. He wouldn't. Amy, how did you meet Marcus? Through a county program. I was aging out of foster care, needed help finding housing. They assigned him as my caseworker temporary thing. He said he could help me. He was so nice at first, charming, helpful. We started dating, got married 6 months later. Eli's stomach turned. Maddox's network used county programs to find vulnerable women. Your husband was recruiting for them. That's not, he couldn't have. But Amy's voice lacked conviction. She was piecing it together, seeing the pattern. How old were you when you met him? 18, just. And he was how old? 32. Lincoln spoke quietly. Classic grooming pattern. Find vulnerable young women, offer help, create dependency, then control through violence and fear. Amy started crying. I thought he loved me. I thought all those years I thought I was crazy, that I deserved it, that if I just tried harder. Her daughter, the 8-year-old, walked over, put her hand on her mother's arm. It's not your fault, Mommy. He's mean. You didn't make him mean. The simple truth from a child broke something in the room. Amy pulled her daughter close, sobbing now. Years of abuse and gaslighting crashing down at once. Eli stepped outside. Needed air. Needed to think. Coda followed. Sat beside him. This isn't just about protecting one woman. This is about stopping an entire system that's still running. His phone rang. Torres. Agents are 30 minutes out. Status? Complicated. Amy's husband is Marcus Cordova, works with Maddox. She was recruited through county programs when she was 18. Torres swore. We didn't know about him. He wasn't in Richard's files. Because Uncle Richard died in 2003. Marcus probably came later. younger generation of the same network. Then we need her testimony. If she'll testify against her husband and connect him to Maddox, we can expand the case. She's traumatized, scared, not sure she's ready. She doesn't have to be ready. She just has to be willing. Torres paused. Eli, I know this is hard. But if we don't act now, if we let Marcus and the others keep operating, more women get hurt. More families destroyed. I know. Then convince her, please. Eli went back inside. Amy had stopped crying, was holding both her kids, looking at them with something between love and terror. Amy, the FBI needs your testimony, against Marcus, against Maddox, against everyone involved. I can't. If I testify, he'll find us. He always finds us. Not if he's in prison. You don't understand. He has friends, lawyers, money. Even if he goes to prison, his people will. She looked at her kids. I can't risk them. You're already risking them by running, by hiding. Eventually he'll find you. He always does right. Eli knelt down in front of her. Your uncle ran a sanctuary for 19 years, saved hundreds of people, but he couldn't save everyone, because the system kept running, kept producing more victims, more families in danger. So what, I'm supposed to sacrifice myself to stop it? No, you're supposed to fight back. Not just for you, for your kids, for every other woman Marcus is going to target, every other family Maddox network is going to destroy. I'm not brave like that. Your uncle wasn't brave either, not at first. He was just a guy who saw something wrong and refused to look away. Eli stood up. You drove all night to protect your kids. You left everything behind. You came here looking for help. That's brave. That's more than brave. Amy looked at her daughter. The girl nodded. Do it, Mommy. Make him stop. The simplicity of childhood wisdom cut through fear. Amy took a shaky breath. What do I have to do? Tell the FBI everything. Every name, every detail, everything Marcus told you about his work, everything you saw or heard. And they'll protect us. Yes. Promise. Eli wanted to promise, wanted to guarantee her safety, but he'd made promises before in Afghanistan to soldiers who didn't make it home. I promise I'll do everything I can to keep you safe, and so will the FBI. But the best protection is putting these men in prison, permanently. Amy nodded. All right, I'll testify. FBI agents arrived 20 minutes later. Torres led them. She took Amy's statement while agents secured the area. Eli watched from outside with Coda and Lincoln. You think this will be enough? Lincoln asked. Has to be. We can't keep running rescue missions. We need to cut the head off the snake. Snakes have more than one head. Then we cut them all off. Torres emerged an hour later. Got her statement. It's damning. Marcus Cordova has been recruiting for Maddox's network for at least 8 years. She can name 6 other women he targeted. 2 of them disappeared, never found. Jesus. We're moving on him now. Arrest warrant is being issued, along with warrants for 3 other associates she identified. Torres looked at Eli. You did good, getting her here, keeping her safe. Your uncle would be proud. My uncle's dead because he did this alone. I'm not making that mistake. No, you're not. Torres gestured to her agents. We're setting up protection for Amy and her kids. Witness security. New identities if necessary. They'll be safe. What about the Starlight Maddox's people know I'm involved? They'll come after it again. Let them. We're watching now. Any move they make, we document. Any threat, any vandalism, any intimidation, it all adds to the case. So I'm bait. You're a witness with property. We're just watching very carefully. Eli didn't like it, but he understood it. All right, but I'm not hiding. I'm continuing the rebuild. Good. That's what your uncle would do. They escorted Amy and her kids out, promised to stay in touch. The woman looked back at Eli one more time. Thank you for believing me, for helping. Thank your daughter. She's the brave one. The little girl waved as they drove away. Eli stood there long after the vehicles disappeared. Coda pressed against his leg. One woman, 2 kids, saved. Lincoln came up beside him. Your uncle saved 47 families in 19 years. You just saved your first in 2 weeks. Not bad. It's not enough. It never is, but it's something. They drove back to the Starlight. It was late afternoon. Most of the volunteers had gone home, but someone was waiting. A man, late 50s, expensive suit, standing by a black Mercedes. Eli's hand went to his waistband. Empty again. He really needed to start carrying. Mr. Bellamy. The man's voice was cultured, calm. My name is Victor Chen. I'm an attorney. I represent Marcus Cordova. Good for you. Get off my property. I'm here to discuss a settlement. My client is willing to drop all charges against his wife in exchange for her return and your silence. She's not property. She doesn't get returned. Legally, she's in violation of a custody agreement. The children are half his. He has rights. He has an arrest warrant, as of about an hour ago. Chen's expression flickered. Surprise, then smooth again. I'm not aware of any warrant. Call your client. Ask him about the FBI agents at his office right now. Chen pulled out his phone. Dialed. Waited. His expression changed. He hung up. This is a mistake. My client has done nothing wrong. Your client has been trafficking women for almost a decade. He's done everything wrong. You have no proof. The FBI has his wife's testimony. They have names, dates, details. They have enough to put him away for 30 years. Chen's calm shattered. You don't understand what you're doing. Marcus has powerful friends. Maddox isn't the only one. There are others, people who will not appreciate this interference. Good. Tell them to come. I'll be here. You're making enemies you can't afford. I'm making enemies I can't avoid. There's a difference. Eli stepped closer. Now get off my property. And tell your client and Maddox and whoever else is involved that the Starlight isn't for sale. Not now, not ever. And anyone who comes here looking for victims is going to find something else instead. What's that? Resistance. Chen stared at him for a long moment. Then he got in his Mercedes and drove away. Coda watched until the car disappeared. We just declared war. Lincoln nodded. Yep. Think we can win? Your uncle fought for 19 years, died fighting. I'd say the odds are about the same. Comforting. Truth usually isn't. That night, Eli couldn't sleep. Again. He sat in the projection booth with Coda, looking at the stars, thinking about Uncle Richard, about Amy and her kids, about Martinez and Afghanistan, and all the people he couldn't save. His phone buzzed. Text from Torres. Marcus Cordova arrested. 3 associates in custody. Amy and kids are safe. You did this. You started something your uncle couldn't finish. Don't stop now. Eli showed the message to Coda. We're in too deep to stop anyway. The dog's tail wagged. Another text. Different number. You're a dead man. Enjoy your last days. Friend of Marcus. Eli deleted it. Didn't respond. Because threats were just words. And words couldn't stop what he was building. The Starlight was more than a drive-in now. More than a sanctuary. It was becoming something Uncle Richard had never imagined. A fortress, a symbol, proof that ordinary people could fight back against systems designed to crush them. And Eli Bellamy, broken Marine, forgotten veteran, accidental inheritor, was going to make sure it stayed that way, even if it killed him. He looked at the stars, made a promise, to Uncle Richard, to Amy, to Martinez, to everyone who'd ever needed help and found only silence. We're not stopping. We're not backing down. We're finishing this. Coda's bark echoed across the empty drive-in. Somewhere in town, Marcus Cordova sat in a jail cell. Maddox sat in his mansion with an ankle monitor. And the network they'd built, the system of abuse and corruption and evil, it was crumbling. Slowly. But crumbling. And Eli Bellamy, with his scarred dog and his uncle's legacy and his refusal to quit, was the one bringing it down. One saved life at a time. The fire started at 3 a.m. Eli woke to Coda's barking, sharp, frantic, the sound he made when danger was immediate. He rolled out of bed, grabbed his boots, and ran outside. The concession stand was burning. Flames ate through the newly repaired door. Smoke poured from the windows. The heat hit him from 30 yards away. No, no, no. He grabbed the hose, turned it on full blast. Water hit the flames but barely made a dent. Coda barked at the tree line. Someone was out there, watching. Eli ran for his truck, got the shotgun from behind the seat, chambered around. Come out, I know you're there. No response, just the crackle of burning wood. He called 911. Fire at the Starlight Drive-In, Old Highway 12, send everything. Sir, is anyone injured? Not yet, but send police too. This was arson. He hung up, called Torres. Bellamy, it's 3 a.m. They just torched the concession stand, right after Marcus's arrest. This is retaliation. I'm sending agents, don't engage, just, they're already gone. I can hear the engine leaving. But the damage was done. By the time the fire trucks arrived, the concession stand was a total loss. Nothing left but concrete walls and smoke. The fire chief, a man named Patterson, walked the site with Eli. Accelerant, professional job. Started in 3 places simultaneously. Whoever did this knew what they were doing. Can you prove it's arson? Already did. Found the gas cans. They didn't even try to hide them. Patterson looked at Eli. You got enemies. Working on it. Torres arrived an hour later with 2 agents. They documented everything. Took photos. Collected evidence. This is witness intimidation, she said. Federal crime. We can add it to the charges. Against who? We don't know who did this. We'll find out. Trust me. She looked at the burned building. How much damage? 20,000 in repairs. Gone. All the volunteer work. All the progress. Eli's jaw tightened. 3 weeks of work up in smoke. Insurance. Didn't have time to get it yet. Property transfer just finalized last week. Then we'll help. FBI has discretionary funds for victim assistance. We can... I don't want charity. I want arrests. You'll get both. Torres put a hand on his shoulder. Eli, they're trying to break you. Make you quit. Give up. That's what they did to your uncle, wore him down until he had to close the sanctuary. I'm not my uncle. No, you're not. You're angrier, which makes you dangerous to them, but also dangerous to yourself. She met his eyes. Don't do anything stupid. Let us handle this legally. And if legal isn't fast enough, then people get hurt. Probably you. She walked back to her vehicle. Agents will patrol tonight. Every night until we feel it's safe. Call me if anything else happens. After everyone left, Eli stood in the ruins with Coda. 3 weeks of work. The dog whined. Yeah, I know. We rebuild. Again. But it wasn't about the building. It was about the message. We can reach you. We can hurt you. We can destroy what you're building. Lincoln pulled up at dawn, saw the damage, got out slowly. Heard on the scanner, came as soon as I could. They torched it. I see that. Lincoln walked through the rubble. Professional job, military-grade planning, 3 ignition points, timed perfectly to maximize damage and minimize evidence. How do you know that? Because I've seen this before. 20 years ago, when your uncle first started pushing back. They burned his barn. Same pattern, same technique. Why didn't you tell me? Because I hoped things had changed. That with Maddox arrested, the network would lie low. Regroup. But they're not regrouping. Lincoln turned to face him. They're escalating. Because they know if they don't stop you now, you'll do what your uncle never could expose all of them. Good. Let them escalate. We'll meet them head on. Eli. I'm not running. I'm not quitting. I'm rebuilding this concession stand and everything else they burned down. And I'm going to keep doing it until they're all in prison or they kill me. Those are the only two endings here. Lincoln studied him. Your uncle said the same thing. Right before someone poisoned his dog. Right before someone shot at him. Right before he had to close everything down. Then I'll make sure neither of those things happen. How you're one man. They're a network with resources, connections, and nothing to lose. I've got something they don't. What's that? Eli looked at Coda. At the ruins. At the screen still standing behind them. I've got a reason to fight. They're just fighting to protect their crimes. I'm fighting to protect people. That makes me more dangerous than they'll ever be. Word spread fast. By afternoon, volunteers started showing up again. The construction crew from before, the painter, local tradesmen, even people Eli had never met. Heard what happened? We're helping rebuild. You don't have to. Yeah, we do. Your uncle helped this town more than anyone knew. We're not letting his legacy burn down. They worked through the day, clearing debris, salvaging what they could, planning the rebuild. By sunset, the foundation was cleared and ready for new construction. Eli was hauling rubble to a dumpster when a truck pulled up. Not a volunteer. Too new. Too expensive. A woman got out, 60 years old, gray hair, professional clothes. Eli Bellamy. Yeah. My name is Susan Miller. I'm Deputy Miller's mother. Eli's hand tightened on the shovel he was holding. If you're here to defend your son, I'm not. I'm here to apologize. Her voice cracked. And to tell you something you need to know. She reached into her purse, pulled out a folder. My son has been on Maddox's payroll for 11 years. I found out 3 years ago. Confronted him. He told me to mind my own business. Said he was protecting the family. Protecting me. By helping abusers. By looking the other way. Taking bribes. Feeding information to Maddox's network. Susan opened the folder. These are copies of his bank statements. His communications with Maddox. Everything I could gather without him knowing. Eli took the folder. Started reading. Saw transaction after transaction. Payments disguised as consulting fees. Bonuses. Gifts. Why are you giving me this? Because he's my son, but he's also a criminal. And I can't protect him anymore. Tears started. I thought if I stayed quiet, if I didn't make waves, maybe he'd stop. Maybe he'd change. But he won't. He just gets deeper. And now people are getting hurt because I was too much of a coward to act. You're acting now. Too late. Years too late. But maybe it's not too late to stop him from hurting anyone else. She wiped her eyes. Give that to the FBI. Tell them I'll testify if needed. Tell them I'm sorry I didn't do this sooner. She got in her truck and drove away before Eli could respond. He looked at Coda. People keep surprising me. That night, he gave the folder to Torres. She called him back within an hour. This is incredible. This connects Miller directly to Maddox. Shows pattern of conspiracy going back over a decade. We can charge him tomorrow. His mother wants to testify. She won't have to. This documentation is enough. But Eli, this puts a target on her. If Maddox's people find out she turned over evidence, then protect her. Put her in witness security like you did for Amy. We'll try. But she's not in immediate danger. She's not a victim. She's a witness who chose to come forward. She's a mother who chose to do the right thing. That's the same as a victim in Maddox's world. Torres was quiet. You're right. I'll arrange protection. 2 days later, Deputy Miller was arrested. The news spread through Wolf Creek like wildfire. Some people celebrated. Others got angry. Miller had friends, family, people who thought he was being railroaded. Eli started getting calls, some supportive, others threatening. "You're destroying this town. You're ruining good people's lives. You should have left things alone." He stopped answering his phone, but the volunteers kept coming. The rebuild continued. Within a week, the concession stand had new walls going up. Then the second crisis hit. A woman named Sarah, late 20s, visibly pregnant, showed up at the Starlight. She was bleeding. "Please, I need help." Eli ran over. "What happened?" "My boyfriend. He pushed me down the stairs. I think something's wrong with the baby. We need to get you to a hospital." No, hospital. He works there. He's a paramedic. He'll find me. He always finds me." "Sarah, you're bleeding. You need medical attention." "I know, but I can't if he finds me. He said if I ever left, he'd make sure I lost the baby. Said he'd kill it himself if he had to." She grabbed Eli's arm. "Please. There has to be somewhere. Someone. Your uncle people said he helped." "My uncle's dead. But his sanctuary isn't running. It's just—" Eli looked at the half-built concession stand, at Coda watching intently, at Lincoln walking over. "It's under construction." Lincoln took one look at Sarah and pulled out his phone. "I'm calling an ambulance. She says her boyfriend works as a paramedic." "Then I'm calling someone I trust, friend of mine, retired EMT. She'll come here, check Sarah out. If it's serious, we transport her to a different hospital, one in the next county." "Is that legal? Is letting her bleed out legal?" Lincoln was already dialing. "Sometimes you have to choose between legal and right." The retired EMT, a woman named Dorothy, arrived 20 minutes later. She examined Sarah in the projection booth, away from prying eyes. 15 minutes later, Dorothy emerged. "She needs a hospital. Soon. She's having contractions. Baby's coming early. Could be complications." "How early?" 7 months. That's viable but risky. She needs proper care." Sarah stumbled out behind her. "I can't go to a hospital. He'll know. He has friends at every hospital in 3 counties. He'll find me. She collapsed. Dorothy caught her. "She's in active labor. We're out of time." Eli made a decision. "Torres, we call Torres. FBI can arrange transport, medical care, protection." He dialed. Torres answered. "I've got a pregnant woman in active labor, fleeing abuse, needs immediate medical attention but can't go to local hospitals. Can you help?" "Where are you?" "The Starlight." "I'm 30 minutes away. Can she wait?" Dorothy shook her head. "Contractions are 4 minutes apart. She's dilating fast. This baby's coming now." "No," Eli said into the phone. "She can't wait." "Then call 911. Get her to the nearest hospital. We'll secure her there. Her boyfriend works as a paramedic. He has access. Connections." Torres swore. "All right. I'm calling in a medical evacuation helicopter. Military bird. They'll land at your location, transport her to Billings. We'll have agents waiting. But Eli, this is expensive. This is pulling strings I don't usually pull. She better be telling the truth." "She is." "How do you know?" "Because nobody fakes contractions and bleeding and terror that real." 30 minutes. Keep her stable until then." The next 30 minutes were the longest of Eli's life. Dorothy coached Sarah through contractions. Lincoln and Eli kept watch. Coda paced, sensing the crisis. Sarah screamed through contractions. Begged them not to let her boyfriend find her. Clutched her belly like she could protect the baby through sheer will. "You're doing great," Dorothy said. "Just keep breathing. Help is coming." What if he finds me anyway? What if—" "He won't, I promise. The people coming for you, they're professionals. They protect people for a living. Like Mr. Harmon did." The question hit Eli like a fist. "Yeah, like my uncle did. He saved my mom when I was little, got her away from my dad. I never forgot." Sarah gripped his hand. "That's why I came here. Because I remembered. Because I thought maybe—" Another contraction cut her off. Then they heard it. Helicopter rotors, getting closer. A Black Hawk appeared over the trees. Military markings. It landed in the center of the drive-in lot rotor wash, kicking up dust. 2 medics jumped out with a stretcher. FBI agents with them. They loaded Sarah in under 3 minutes. Professional, efficient, safe. Before they took off, Sarah looked at Eli one more time. Thank you. For being like your uncle. For not turning me away. Get that baby safe. That's all the thanks I need. The helicopter lifted off. Disappeared into the evening sky. Eli stood in the silence that followed. Coda pressed against him. Dorothy packed up her equipment. Your uncle would be proud. My uncle would be terrified. We just called in a military helicopter. Used federal resources. Probably broke a dozen regulations. Your uncle broke 100 regulations saving people. Sometimes the rules aren't designed to protect the vulnerable. Sometimes you have to go around them. She left. Lincoln stayed. That is 2 women in 1 week. At this rate, you'll match your uncle's record in 6 months. I don't want to match his record. I want to create something he couldn't, a system that works. That doesn't require secret sanctuaries and coded ledgers and hiding in projection booths. That's naive. Maybe. But I'm tired of accepting that the system's broken and there's nothing we can do. There has to be another way. Your uncle spent 20 years looking for another way, never found it. Then I'll keep looking, until I do, or until they stop me. Lincoln left. Eli stayed, sat on the steps of the projection booth with Coda. His phone rang. Torres. Sarah's in surgery. Baby came early. They're both stable. Doctors say another hour without medical intervention, and she would have lost him. Him? Boy, 7 pounds, healthy considering. She named him Richard. Eli's throat tightened. She what? Named him after your uncle, said he saved her mother, and now his legacy saved her son. Thought it was fitting. Eli couldn't speak for a moment. Eli, you there? Yeah, I'm here. You did good today, saved 2 lives, that matters. It's not enough. It never is, but it's something. Torres paused. I'm getting pushback. Superiors asking why I'm allocating military helicopters for domestic situations. Questions about resource allocation. About whether this case justifies the expense. Are you telling me to stop? I'm telling you to be careful, because if my bosses shut this down, if they decide it's not worth the resources, you'll be on your own. And on your own against Maddox's network. Those aren't good odds. I've had worse. Yeah, but this isn't Afghanistan. You can't just fight your way out. You need the law on your side, and the law is fickle, especially when powerful people are involved. How long do I have? Before the bureaucracy catches up, maybe a week, maybe less. Make it count. She hung up. Eli looked at Coda. 1 week to finish this. Think we can do it? The dog's tail wagged. Yeah, me neither. But we're going to try. He pulled out Uncle Richard's journal, read the last entry again. Someday, someone will need to know what happened here. Someone will need to finish what I started. I'm trying, Uncle Richard. I'm really trying. His phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Sarah's baby won't live to see his first birthday. Neither will Sarah. Neither will you. Stop now, or everyone you help becomes a target. Last warning. Eli read it twice. Then he replied, Come try. I'll be here. He put the phone away, looked at the stars, made a promise to himself, to his uncle, to Martinez, to everyone he'd ever lost. I'm not stopping. Not now. Not ever. They can burn down every building, send every threat, come after me with everything they have. I'm still not stopping. Coda barked agreement, and somewhere in the darkness, Eli knew they were watching, planning, preparing for war. Good, let them come. Because the Starlight wasn't just a sanctuary anymore. It was a fortress, and Eli Bellamy was ready to defend it, no matter what it cost. The attack came 3 nights later, not subtle this time. not arson or vandalism or threats. This was direct, personal, meant to end things permanently. Eli was in the projection booth going over building plans when Coda's growl started, low, continuous, the sound he made when multiple threats were approaching. How many? The dog's ears swiveled, tracking sounds Eli couldn't hear yet. Then he heard them. Engines. At least 3 vehicles. Coming fast. Eli grabbed his shotgun, checked the chamber, moved to the window. 6 trucks, all black, spreading out to surround the property. They're not here to talk. He pulled out his phone, called Torres. It went straight to voicemail. Torres, they're here. Multiple vehicles. Armed. This is it. He called 911 next. 911, what's your emergency? Armed assault in progress. Starlight Drive-In. Old Highway 12. Multiple attackers. Send everyone. Sir, are you injured? Not yet, but I will be if you don't send help now. Units are dispatched. Stay on the line. He hung up. Didn't have time. The truck stopped. Doors opened. Men got out. Eli counted 12. All armed. Moving with military precision. And leading them, Victor Chen, the lawyer, Marcus Cordova's attorney. Mr. Bellamy. Chen's voice carried across the lot. We're here to collect property that belongs to my clients. Send out the evidence you stole. Do that, and we leave peacefully. Eli stayed in the projection booth. I didn't steal anything. That evidence was my uncle's legally mine. Your uncle obtained it through illegal surveillance. It's inadmissible in court. Now send it out, or we come in. You come in, you're trespassing, assault, breaking and entering. We're recovering stolen property. That's legal. No, it's not. And you know it. Chen gestured. His men started forward. Eli fired a warning shot into the ground in front of them. They stopped. Next one won't be a warning. You can't shoot us all. Watch me try standoff. 12 men with rifles against 1 man with a shotgun and a dog. The math didn't work in Eli's favor. Then headlights appeared on the access road. Another vehicle approaching fast. Lincoln's truck. He skidded to a stop at the property entrance. Got out with his hunting rifle. Federal agents are 3 minutes out, he yelled. Anyone still here when they arrive goes to prison. You're bluffing, Chen called back. Am I want to test that? Want to explain to a judge why you brought 12 armed men to assault a veteran on his own property? Chen hesitated, checked his phone, made a call. Eli used the distraction. Coda, go. The dog shot out the projection booth door. Not toward the men, toward the tree line, circling, getting behind them. Chen finished his call. We're leaving. But this isn't over. Yeah, it is. You just committed a dozen felonies in front of witnesses. FBI's going to love that. The FBI won't do anything. They can't prove intent. Can't prove we weren't here to serve civil papers. With 12 armed men. Try again. Sirens started. Distant but approaching. Chen's men looked at each other. Started backing toward their trucks. This is your last chance, Chen shouted. Give us the evidence or... Coda's barking erupted from behind them. The dog had flanked around, was charging from their rear. The men panicked, spun, raised weapons. Don't shoot the dog, Eli yelled. He's protected under federal law. You shoot him, that's assaulting an officer. He's not an officer. He's a registered service animal. Military veterans support. Shooting him is a felony. The bluff worked. The men hesitated. Coda kept barking, driving them forward, away from the trucks. Lincoln moved into position, blocked their retreat. Drop the weapons, now on the ground. We're leaving. After you drop the weapons, I'm not letting armed men drive away from an assault scene. The sirens got louder. Red and blue lights appeared through the trees. Chen's men finally dropped their rifles. Hands up. Smart choice, Eli said. Sheriff vehicles arrived first, then FBI. Torres jumped out running. Eli, you okay? Fine. They're the ones in trouble. Torres looked at Chen. At the 12 men with their hands up. at the rifles on the ground. "Victor Chen, you're under arrest for conspiracy, assault, witness intimidation, and being the dumbest lawyer I've ever met." She gestured to her agents. "Cuff them. All of them." "This is harassment," Chen protested as agents grabbed him. "We were serving papers." "With 12 armed men in the middle of the night." Torres held up her phone. "We've been monitoring this property. Got the whole thing on camera. Every word, every action, every felony." Chen's face went white. "That's illegal surveillance. With a warrant. Signed by a federal judge. Because threats against federal witnesses are taken seriously." Torres walked closer to him. "You just gave us everything we needed. Connection between Maddox's network and active intimidation. You're going to prison, and you're going to testify against everyone who hired you." "I want my lawyer." "You are a lawyer, and you just committed crimes on camera. Good luck with that." They loaded all 13 men into vehicles, drove them away. Eli sat down hard on the projection booth steps. Coda pressed against him. Lincoln walked over. "That was close. Too close. If Torres hadn't been monitoring, but she was. And now we've got them on assault, conspiracy, everything." Torres approached. "You should have called me sooner." "I tried. Went to voicemail. I was coordinating with local PD, making sure we had coverage." She sat down beside him. "Eli, this is escalating faster than I thought. Chen bringing 12 men, that's desperation. They're running out of options." "Good. Let them run out. Or they get more dangerous. Desperate people do desperate things." "Then what do you want me to do?" "Hide, run. Give up. I want you to let me move you to a safe location. Protective custody, until the trials are over." "No. Eli. This is my property, my uncle's legacy. I'm not abandoning it because criminals are desperate." Torres looked at Lincoln. "Help me out here." "He's right. Running now sends a message that intimidation works, that violence wins." Lincoln met her eyes. His uncle ran, shut down the sanctuary, spent his last years afraid, died alone because fear isolated him. That's not happening to Eli. Then he might die here. Better than dying hiding. Torres stood up. "Fine, but I'm stationing agents here, 24/7. Anyone comes near this property, we know about it. Won't that just escalate things more?" "Maybe, but it'll keep you alive." She started walking to her vehicle, stopped. "Eli, your uncle saved 47 families in 20 years. You've saved 3 in 3 weeks. At this rate, if you survive, you'll surpass his record in a year. That scares them. That's why they're desperate, because you're not just continuing his work, you're amplifying it." After Torres left, Eli and Lincoln sat in silence. Coda lay between them. "She's right," Lincoln finally said. "You're doing more than Richard ever could, because you're not hiding. You're public, visible. That makes you more dangerous to them. Also makes me a better target. True. But it also makes you harder to disappear. Too many people watching now. Too much attention." Lincoln gestured at the half-rebuilt concession stand. "This place isn't a secret anymore. It's a symbol. You tear it down, make it disappear, people notice. People ask questions. Think that'll be enough? To keep you alive, maybe. To keep them scared. Definitely." Eli looked at the stars, remembered Uncle Richard's note. "Don't let the stars fade. I need to do more than just survive. Need to finish this." How? By turning the Starlight into what it was always meant to be, a real sanctuary. Legal, official, protected. That's ambitious. That's necessary. Because if I keep operating in secret, keep rescuing people case by case, I'm just repeating what Uncle Richard did. And we know how that ended. So what's your plan? Make it public. Register as a non-profit. Partner with legitimate organizations. Create something Maddox can't touch because it's protected by law. That'll take months, Lawyers, paperwork, funding? Then I better get started. Over the next 2 weeks, Eli worked on 2 fronts. During the day, volunteers rebuilt. The concession stand rose from its ashes. Better, stronger, with a new purpose. During the night, Eli worked with lawyers, filed nonprofit paperwork, reached out to domestic violence organizations, victims' rights groups, social services agencies. Some said no. Too controversial, too risky, too connected to an active federal investigation. But others said yes. A women's shelter in Billings offered partnership. We're always looking for safe houses, remote locations, places where victims can hide while we arrange long-term solutions. A veterans support group offered funding. Your uncle was a veteran. You're a veteran. Helping families is what veterans do. We're in. A legal aid society offered free representation. For the women you help. For the families fleeing abuse. We'll handle the paperwork, the restraining orders, the custody battles, everything. Piece by piece, the Starlight Sanctuary took shape. Not just a drive-in theater. Not just a secret refuge. A legitimate, legal protected organization dedicated to helping victims of domestic violence. Torres called on day 12. Trial dates are set. Maddox goes first, next month. Marcus Cordova 2 weeks after that. Deputy Miller after that. We're moving fast. How strong is the case? With your uncle's evidence, Amy's testimony, Sarah's testimony, and now Chen's assault on camera. Unbeatable. Maddox is looking at 30 years minimum. He'll appeal. Of course, but he'll do it from prison. That's what matters. What about his network, the others? We're working on it. 19 people so far. Some are cooperating, giving up names, locations, evidence. The whole thing's unraveling. And the women, the ones who were victims, getting help, real help, counseling, legal aid, safe housing. Your nonprofit applications went through, by the way. Starlight Sanctuary is officially registered. Eli felt something loosen in his chest. We did it. You did it. Your uncle started it. You finished it. No, we finished it together. You, Lincoln, the volunteers, everyone who refused to look away. Save the humble act for the press conference. What press conference? The one tomorrow, where you announce the Starlight Sanctuary's official opening, where you tell the world what your uncle did, what you're doing, and where you invite other communities to do the same. Torres paused. This isn't just about Wolf Creek anymore, Eli. This is about changing how we protect victims nationwide. You want to honor your uncle's legacy? This is how. The press conference was chaos. Reporters from 3 states, TV cameras, print journalists, bloggers. Everyone wanted the story. Eli stood at a makeshift podium in front of the drive-in screen. Coda beside him, Lincoln to his right, Torres to his left. He'd never been good at public speaking, hated being the center of attention. But this wasn't about him. My name is Eli Bellamy. 20 years ago, my uncle Richard Harmon ran a secret sanctuary here. He helped 47 families escape abuse, saved 173 lives. He did it quietly, carefully, because the system wasn't designed to protect victims, it was designed to protect abusers. Cameras clicked. Reporters took notes. He died believing he'd failed, that closing the sanctuary meant the evil won, but he was wrong, because he left evidence, records, proof that one person can make a difference, and that evidence combined with the courage of victims who came forward brought down a trafficking network that had operated for decades. Someone raised a hand. Mr. Bellamy, are you saying local law enforcement was complicit? I'm saying corruption enabled abuse, and federal investigators have arrested 17 officials so far, including police, county employees, even a judge. More questions. Eli answered what he could, deflected what he couldn't. Then a woman in the back spoke up. What about the women you helped, Amy Cordova, Sarah? Are they safe? They're protected, in federal custody, getting the help they need. And the Starlight Sanctuary. What is it exactly? A safe house. A refuge. A place where victims can come when they have nowhere else to go. We partner with law enforcement, with social services, with organizations that specialize in victim support. We're not secret anymore. We're legitimate, legal, and permanent. Who's funding this? Donations, grants, volunteers. This community lost count of how many families Uncle Richard helped. Now they're returning the favor. The questions continued for 30 minutes. Finally, Torres stepped in. That's all for now. If you want more information, contact the FBI field office. If you want to help, contact the Starlight Sanctuary directly. Thank you. Afterward, Eli collapsed in the projection booth, exhausted. Coda brought him water, somehow. The dog had figured out how to open the mini fridge Lincoln installed. You're getting too smart. The dog's tail wagged. Lincoln climbed up. You did good down there. Your uncle would have been proud. You think? I know. Because I knew him. And I know that all he wanted was for the abuse to stop, for the fear to end, for victims to have options. Lincoln looked out at the reporters still milling around. You gave them that. And you gave Richard's sacrifice meaning. That's more than most people get. Eli's phone buzzed. Text from Torres. 3 women just called our hotline, all from other states, all asking about the sanctuary. This is spreading. You ready for that? Eli looked at Coda, at Lincoln, at the starlight screen behind them. Ready as I'll ever be. He typed back. Over the next month, the trial transformed Wolf Creek. Maddox fought every charge. His lawyers filed motion after motion. But the evidence was overwhelming. Uncle Richard's files, Amy's testimony, Sarah's statement, the recorded assault by Chen's men. The jury deliberated for 3 hours, found him guilty on all counts. 35 years in prison. Marcus Cordova went next. Got 25 years. Deputy Miller got 15. Victor Chen got 10 for the assault, plus disbarment. One by one, the network collapsed. 19 convictions total. 43 years of combined sentences. And throughout the trials, the Starlight Sanctuary grew. More women came. More families. Some stayed days, others weeks. All got help. Legal support. Counseling. Protection. The concession stand was converted into living quarters. The projection booth became an office. The parking lot held donated RVs for temporary housing. Volunteers ran it. Licensed social workers, therapists, legal advocates, security personnel. Eli oversaw everything. But he wasn't alone anymore. He had a team, a mission, a purpose beyond just survival. 6 months after the first arrest, Sarah brought her baby to visit. Little Richard, 7 months old now, healthy, happy. He wouldn't exist without you, she said. Without your uncle, without this place. He exists because you fought, because you had the courage to ask for help. A lot of people ask for help. Not everyone gets it. That's what makes this place special. That's what makes you special. Eli didn't know what to say to that, so he just held the baby, looked at his tiny face, saw hope made flesh. Later that night, alone in the projection booth with Coda, Eli pulled out Uncle Richard's note one last time. Don't let the stars at Starlight fade. You'll find what I never said there. He finally understood. His uncle hadn't just left him property, hadn't just left evidence. He'd left a calling, a purpose, a way to turn pain into progress. The stars weren't just literal. They were metaphorical. Hope, light in darkness, proof that good could survive evil. I won't let them fade, Uncle Richard. I promise. 1 year after inheriting the Starlight, Eli stood in front of the screen again. But this time wasn't for press conferences or trials or fighting. This time was celebration. The Starlight Sanctuary's first anniversary. 200 people gathered. Volunteers, survivors, supporters. People whose lives had been touched by this place. Amy spoke, talked about finding safety, about her kids being free from fear. Sarah spoke, held up baby Richard, thanked the man whose legacy saved them both. Others spoke, each with a story, each with gratitude, each proof that one person could make a difference. When it was Eli's turn, he kept it short. My uncle spent 20 years fighting in secret, saving people quietly, dying alone because fear isolated him. I inherited his fight. But I changed the rules, made it public, legal, permanent. He looked at the crowd. This place exists because he refused to quit, because he believed victims deserved better, and because when I found out what he did, I knew I had to finish it. But I didn't finish it alone. Lincoln gave me guidance. Torres gave me protection. Volunteers gave their time. Survivors gave their courage. Together, we turned a forgotten drive-in into something my uncle never imagined. Not a secret. A symbol. A symbol that abuse doesn't win. That corruption can be exposed. That ordinary people armed with nothing but conscience and courage can change the world. Coda barked. Everyone laughed. Yeah, and dogs helped too. That night, after everyone left, Eli climbed to the roof of the projection booth. Coda beside him, stars overhead, the screen rising behind them. He thought about Martinez, about Afghanistan, about coming home broken, about finding nothing worth fighting for, until a letter arrived, and a dog found a ledger, and a legacy demanded to be honored. I was wrong, he said aloud, to the stars, to his uncle, to himself. There are things worth fighting for: people, hope, justice, the belief that good can outlast evil if we refuse to give up. Coda's tail thumped against the roof. Yeah, I know, preachy. But it was true, and truth mattered. Uncle Richard had spent 20 years preserving truth. Eli had spent 1 year amplifying it. And now, 1 year later, the Starlight Sanctuary had helped 63 families, saved 192 lives, surpassed Uncle Richard's record. Not because Eli was better, but because he'd learned from Richard's mistakes, made it public instead of secret, built a system instead of operating alone. The light finds those who need it most. That's what the faded paint in the projection booth said. That's what Uncle Richard believed. That's what Eli had proven. And it would keep glowing, keep guiding, keep saving. Because some places aren't just locations, they're promises. Proof that darkness doesn't have to win, that stars can shine even in the deepest night. The Starlight was such a place. And Eli Bellamy, broken Marine, forgotten veteran, accidental inheritor, had become its guardian. Not because he was special, but because he'd refused to let the stars fade. And in a world that often felt dark and cruel and hopeless, that refusal made all the difference.